Hi there and welcome to Red 10 Sisters TV. I'm Kim Sedgwick.
And I'm Amy Sedgwick.
And we are the co-founders of Red 10 Sisters. Today we're answering an Ask the Sisters question. Someone wrote in and asked, how much blood is too much blood when I am menstruating? And this is a great question for Amy to answer because you've got personal experience with bleeding too much.
Yes, I certainly do. So I remember as a teenager actually spending an entire Christmas holiday in bed because I was having to change a pad and a tampon every hour for almost 10 days. It was really horrific. So I've long experienced this problem, and it continued well into my 20s and even into my 30s. So that's been a challenge. So I'm very happy to report that things have changed, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But because I also work as a holistic reproductive health practitioner and I help people to track their cycles, this is one of the things that I really encourage them to actually keep track of, because sometimes our perception of how much we're bleeding is kind of skewed a little bit. Like when we're using pads or tampons, it looks sometimes like more than it is. So we want to start by getting a good assessment. So that's why we really like to encourage our clients to use menstrual cups, because these actually just hold the fluid, and they even have, at least in the Diva cup, lines that tell you how much fluid it's holding. So on the Diva cup, the line that's right here is 15 milliliters. So a normal or healthy menstruation should be about 10 to 35 milliliters total across all the days of your period. And it might go even as high as 45 and at the upper range 60. So that would be the equivalent of kind of blood up to here on this cup 4 times total over all of your days of bleeding. So if you're getting a lot more than that, then you know that there's probably something to be concerned about. So in about 90% of cases, people who are bleeding excessively, which is called menorrhagia, have an iron deficiency. So that's something that you'd want to get checked out if you discovered that you were in fact bleeding too much. There can be other causes for excessive menstrual bleeding. So sometimes it's a hormonal imbalance, particularly something called estrogen dominance. It can also be conditions like endometriosis. So there's lots of things that you could potentially get checked out if you did discover that this was something that was a concern for you.
Do you want to share a little bit about how you've changed your menstrual cycle? Because your flow is way less than it used to be.
It certainly is. So I recently, in the past year, got diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune condition, and I am seeing a lot of subclinical hypothyroidism in my client population. So a combination of getting treated for that naturally and then also switching to an autoimmune paleo diet, I've been experiencing pain-free menstruations that are half the amount of menstrual volume that I used to get, and I'm now finally in the normal range for the first time probably ever in my menstruating life. So that's really exciting. So there are very natural things that you can do to bring this under control and address the underlying hormonal or immune issues that may be contributing to this type of condition.
That's so encouraging. I'm really glad we can share that with our community. If you've got a question, you can send it to the sisters at redtentsisters.com. You can also find us on social media. We're at Red Tent Sisters on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.